So the question's asking, what is the probability that a student believes he will crash that makes him indifferent between buying the additional insurance and not buying the additional insurance? So let's first talk about what the insurance does. It costs $100, and if you crash, if you have insurance, you only have to pay $1,000 for repairs. If you crash and you don't have insurance, you have to pay $5,000 for repairs. So we're looking for the probability that we think will crash that makes us indifferent between buying the insurance and not. Well, first let's define that probability as X. This is the probability that a student believes he will crash. And then we're going to look at our expected utility from not having insurance and our expected utility why we have insurance. So first, our expected utility with no insurance. Well, with no insurance, if we crash, so X is the state of nature where we crash, we're going to expect to have $45,000 because we started with $50,000, we don't have insurance, and we've crashed. So we're going to minus $5,000 for repairs, and we're going to end up at $45,000. Now we're going to use our utility function throughout this because we're looking for our expected utility. So we're not looking for our expected wealth, which is why you see $45,000 raised to the 0.5, because our utility function was W raised to the 0.5. So because we're looking for our expected utility, we're going to see our utility function at each state of nature. The 1 minus X represents the state of nature where we don't crash, and when we don't have insurance and we don't crash, we expect to end up with $50,000. Now let's look at our expected utility with insurance. Well, with insurance, if we do crash, we expect to end up at $48,900 because now we bought insurance for $100, we've crashed, and only had to pay $1,000 for repairs. 1 minus X, where we don't crash, we expect to end up with $49,900 because, again, we bought insurance for $100, but now we haven't crashed. So even though we didn't use that insurance, we still had to pay for it, and we have $49,900. Now, starting from the expected utility of no insurance, let's simplify this as best as we can. We can take the square root of both of our numbers, distribute them through, start to combine like terms, and we see that this is the farthest we can get it. It says that our expected utility with no insurance is equal to negative 11.475x plus 223.607. We're going to do the same process starting from our expected utility with insurance. We're going to simplify this down and combine like terms. And we see that our expected utility with insurance is negative 2.25x plus 223.383. Well, now that we've simplified both those equations as far as we can, let's take a look at what we're solving for and what it means. Well, we know that we're indifferent between having insurance and not having insurance at the probability X where the utilities of both of our choices are equal. So if we're just as happy not having insurance and having insurance, it must mean that we don't care either way. We're indifferent between those two choices. So we're going to set these two equations equal and solve for the X that equates them. We do this and we see that this is just algebra away from solving for X, and we get X is equal to 0.02428. In percentage form, X is equal to 2.428%. So the indifference point is significant. It doesn't just tell us the probability where we're indifferent. It also gives us some information about what we would do with a different question asked. Suppose the students believe there's a 5% chance that they will wreck. Will they buy insurance or not? He could very well ask that. Well, if we've already solved for the indifference point, we know that anything above 2.428 is going to induce them to buy insurance. So if the probability X was equal to 5%, we would for sure buy insurance. If the probability X was less than 2.428%, we would for sure not buy insurance. So if the probability X was just 1%, we know that we wouldn't buy insurance. So this is why it's significant. Anything above this is going to make us buy insurance. Anything below this is going to make us not buy insurance.